Heavy Rain is a game based on interactive storytelling. It's a game where players' actions have consequences on the way the story is told. So it's the story of four main characters whose lives are really interlaced around the investigation about a serial killer called the Origami Killer. We try to trigger more complex emotions like empathy, sadness, happiness, different things that are usually more difficult to trigger.
Give me what you got in the register. Don't fucking try anything.
The Origami Killer has a very special MO. In fact, he kidnaps his victim in public, but no one noticed him so far. And the victims disappear for 4 days, and they are found dead, drowned in rainwater, in a wasteland generally. And they have an orchid on their chest and an origami in their hand. And the police discovers that the victim was still alive a couple of hours before they were found, which means that they stayed alive for 4 days before being found dead. The way the video game industry used narrative so far was very simple. We had different levels with action mechanics, and the story was usually used to create the link between these levels. No one really cared about the story most of the time. It was just a way to put all these levels together and justify that you go from the snow level to the sand level to the whatever level. Now here in Heavy Rain we try to have a different approach. We don't use the story as an alibi to justify something else. It's really the core essence of the experience, and what the player does is basically playing almost physically with the story and changing its shape and its form and really becoming the writer of the story. So it's a very, very different approach. But we also needed to invent a new way of interacting that would not be based on mechanics and loops, but would be based only on contextual actions and the fact that, well, the player can really do many different things, not just shooting, jumping, running. The writing of Heavy Rain was basically inspired by a personal experience. I was in a mall with my wife and my young kid. He was about 5-6 years old, and I thought it was with my wife. My wife thought it was with me, and we suddenly realized we'd lost him. And that was probably the most frightening 10 minutes of my life, really looking for him and wondering, what if I don't find him? Where could it be? What happened? And it's insane the amount of guilt and you know, and that you can feel in these moments. And I just wanted to write a story that would convey a fraction of the fear and guilt that I experienced in that moment, and just to write something about love, because love of a father for his son is something very unique. It's kind of some kind of unconditional love. You don't expect anything in return. This is why also the tagline of Heavy Rain is how far are you prepared to go to save someone you love. It took me about a year to write Heavy Rain. It's been really a lot of work and a very specific work to this game. I tried to write the story and the gameplay at the same time, because I didn't want them to be cut from the other. I didn't want a dichotomy between the narrative and the gameplay, but I wanted one to support the other. To give you an idea, a movie script is about 120 pages, but the game design of Heavy Rain is about 2,000 pages, just the final one. But I probably wrote, I don't know, maybe 6,000 or 7,000 pages of notes and drawings and stuff just to have these 2,000 pages. So the final game is about 70 scenes that all are really unique with a specific gameplay and are part of the overall narrative. Heavy Rain doesn't really feature any traditional elements like things hidden that you need to discover, etc. It's really all about narrative and characters and emotions. Each character in Heavy Rain has a strength and weaknesses. It's more or less obvious depending on the characters, but there's no real mechanic, all of them having something. It's really something special to who they are and where they come from. Scott Shelby is a private detective. He's this kind of film noir type of character. He's really tall, a little bit overweight, really heavy, and he likes to work on his own. And he's a former police lieutenant. But although he likes to work alone, he will have to deal with a very special partner on Heavy Rain.
I'm investigating the case of the Origami Killer. I'd like to ask you a few questions.
The character of Mary Smith is actually somewhere in the game. She's not one of the main characters or supportive cast, but she's somewhere. She will have even more difficult times in Heavy Rain than she had in the casting.
You think I might stand a chance?
Someone will get in touch with you and let you know.
She wasn't too bad, huh?
Doesn't matter, she's too old for the part.